Ow. Ow. Oh, okay. Fuck it then. Fine. Oh man, that sucks. I clipped my ear with a scissor earlier. Just like a teeny tiny bit, and it started bleeding a little bit. But it's like on the absolute outermost point of my ear, so I can't wear headphones now. Alright. Let's see if we can figure out what to do here. I'm not so sure I'll be able to tonight, but we'll give it a go. So, we need to do everything with the force system. That's the new plan. However, we do need to rip some things out. I am going to make a commit. Prior to ripping movement related mechanics out of the targeting ray march. Successfully pushed. Okay, good. So then we need to go here. It's here. Line. Is collider. Is soft collider. Hit position. Target found. This needs to go. I think the hit position thing also doesn't actually really do anything. And I think what this actually wants to do is just return. If first unit found, then it should just return, I think. Is it my PC or your camera? It's a good question. Very good question. Let's find out. Nope, it's not blurry. You just have it on low quality. I think. I don't think we even need to return anything. This is just a... It does return like that. Do we abort here? Where was it? Here somewhere. If first position, then we're just gonna say abort line cast equals true break. I mean, I feel like this should actually just return true. Because what's that gonna do? It's gonna abort, 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 break. And that break is just going to... If target found, return true. I don't know if the... I don't know if I want the actual target to be part of it, but I think it should be. But maybe not. Because I've been thinking that I'm doing too much with the, like, finding the tiles and adding the tiles as we're searching for targets. And it should rather just be like... it doesn't work either necessarily. Because I have partial hits. So I don't want to just take the targets that I've validated and just have them paint their own tiles red, because it might not hit all of their tiles. So I do think that that tile should probably be validated as well. I hate this. Let's just do something and see what happens. Target found equals true. But I don't know if I want to actually abort the line cast, because I feel like... Maybe I do. If validated tiles... Maybe it shouldn't do that? Maybe we should just keep it the way it is. And just make sure we get rid of I equals max dist. And here we have first unit found. And here we're just fetching targets for an AoE. And here, I don't want to do this. And movement mod parameters. Target found equals true. If checking range and finding movement distance and movement mod parameters, target movement vector. I don't really know what this is for. And then here we have this. And what I have been doing is, I think, maybe we should set I equals max. And then it just finishes. Maybe all we have to do is just get rid of that last snippet of code down there. And then it just works. Maybe. Let's see if that's true. That does seem to work. I can target him back there, which I think is kind of wrong, but seems okay. That much works. That doesn't work. That shouldn't exist. Alright, let's try again. Seems to function. Only one guy gets hit. All right. Okay. So. What I need is for this to return true. We're doing fine targeting area here for this skill. And we have a target object here. This is the target object. And I think the targets should be getting added to the skill. Some point? Or does it get added to the object? But I think once you click, we do executability. And what happens when you run executability is that the current targets get transferred into the unit's target list. So how do I do this? I really want the skill to have the targets added to it already here, I think. Main controller current targets.add. Because I'm setting movement tiles to yellow here. And down here, I'm adding the actual target. What am I doing here? Am I stupid? That doesn't make any sense. That's a bug. But I'm wondering if maybe this shouldn't be done here. Where is this happening? This is inside. This is for single target only. And it's just happening here. For line target and for non-line target. So this is what this is doing. Let's just put this first. And then this, we can put that in here. And then here we can do it at a more custom point. Here we're now adding current targets there. But I mean, that could work. I just don't like it. Because I want this here, object force execute. I want a boolean here, bool force execute was false. And I want the object force execute to happen here. And then this should say force execute equals true. And the reason for that is I want the targets that we have validated. So I think we have validated them here. Like we're doing find targeting area. This returns PF result. But this doesn't actually return target found, and I'm not actually setting it. And here we're doing check line collision, and I'm not actually returning a boolean. Or I am returning a boolean, but I'm not like catching it. It's so weird. Like why have I written it like this? And this whole thing, static pathfinder result. Should this not be like a false or? But it's not necessarily like that either. And here, for example, here we have this. Path found. Because it's not actually a PF result. This isn't pathfinding. And then it just continues down here, does this shit. But it's not actually ever Ugh. Well, this is such a mess, man. How does this even work? This is how it works, kind of. It's pathfinding out and finding a bunch of tiles, and then if the mouse or if the tile that I'm hovering over exists within the range tiles that we've found, then that means it's valid. That's why there's not really a like target validation thing going on here, because this is meant to be that already. And so that being said, I think we kind of don't need to do... Though the main reason for doing another ray check, I think, is really to get the path that we traverse. But that could be rendered entirely with the force move as well. So all it needs is to just track the tiles it's been traversing. Oh, Derek, I'm traversing the shit out of this. Why is it saying... If force execute, then now it's being used. And this is now where it's a little special. Don't think the action is even applied to the object yet. But maybe it doesn't need to be. Force ray init. Preview. If it's a preview, that means that everything is in preview state. So what we should say is if preview main controller dot action to trigger dot force init. Should be a thing. And then as we iterate, here when we find an object, if the collision check is true, then we're doing collision count, but we're also gonna do if preview. I just think it's overcomplicated, but I need to refactor a bunch of old shit to make this make more sense code-wise, but fuck it. If preview main controller dot action to trigger dot force apply to target main controller dot combat object list I. That's the target. Preview is true. And the target is, or the object is this, the user. And what else? Force, before we do object force execute, force set preview direction. This is what we shouldn't be doing. It should be like, if the user has source post movement vector, I feel like we just say current object dot force cell force main controller dot action to trigger dot force apply to self current object target position in this scenario is what is the target? I think it's just like mouse tile position or some shit. But I'm not so sure that's right. We can go with that, see what happens. And then force apply to self. Yeah. And nothing is going to be applied to the target anymore. And we're just going to execute. Same here. We're not going to actually do this or this. We're just going to do force applied to self. But see, it's this here. Because here we're drawing the dynamic grid based on the pathfinding result. But I don't feel like that's actually what we want to see anymore. Now we just want to see a list of traversed tiles from here. But because I don't think this is actually going to render anything useful. Yeah, all we're getting now is that this doesn't work, which is just amazing. That's what we want to see. Is the dynamic grid, it eats a PF result here. Should I make this return a PF result? It's not so easy. Because not everything uses this new forced system, right? Because a regular attack just uses the old pathfinding system, and that's just a bunch of raycasts to check for lines, and that in turn generates tiles that we have traversed, which is then stored in the Pathfinder result struct. But here it's different. Kind of. It is, but it isn't really. And I'm just wondering, how do I do this without it becoming a nightmare? Because here, the force execute, it doesn't actually have like a protagonist. This is just a system that just executes whatever force is applied to all objects, right? And then that's it. And I was thinking, like, what should I do with this? Should it... Should it render the tiles that, like... Because I can store every tile that has been traversed here, right? So I can then assign, like, okay, enemies are red, we're blue, or we're yellow even, like, whatever. And then the red is gonna show how the enemies are gonna get pushed. Yellow shows where I'm moving. You know, something like that. But then, like I said, I don't really have... There's not really a protagonist here. So I would have to write that somehow. Ugh. I just feel like I have to write like an entirely new thing here. I feel like there should be a struct called like... I don't even know. Like a tile position record or something. And calling it a record is also like, oh, that's illegal. Because there's already something called a record. And I think that should contain an object. Position. I don't know if it needs to contain anything else. It needs a constructor. No, it should... Is that it? I don't feel like I necessarily need anything else. And then this here. See, here we're doing set movement tiles to yellow. But I don't know. I feel like it needs to be rewritten entirely. Which I hate, by the way. And... object force execute. Wow, where is this shit? Look, movement force iterate. But that's on the object, right? So then here we should have a public list of tile position record, tile position. I hate this name. I hate this name. It's so bad. And then this should say tile position record list dot clear. And then as we do like force ray init, we then iterate the ray. But the question is, should each object contain its starting point? Because then we can say main controller, no, fuck you, main controller dot, what did I call that? Man, what the hell did I call that? Tile position record list. Dot add new main controller dot tile position record. Yeah, I'm gonna move that to the structs later. And then that's gonna take an object, which is this, and it's gonna take its position, which is ray map position, I guess. But I think this also only needs to happen if it's a preview. And then here we have set movement tiles to yellow. We have draw dynamic grid. Draw dynamic grid is going to eat up a PF result. And with the PF result, it's going to find Pathfinder tiles, Pathfinder tile dict, and it's going to create a dynamic grid here. But all it really does is it takes Pathfinder tile dicts. But it's tricky. I felt like I improved this like significantly a while ago. Generate bitwise grid, right? This is the one, I think. No. This one doesn't give a fuck. What I need is this. Generate path results. This takes a path data, pathfinder result, validated tiles. It takes all kinds of shit here. But what does this actually do? PF tile. It's setting edges and shit. Am I even using that? I seem to actually be. Oh. Because the problem here is drawing an actual path. Or there's just so much stuff here that's just too complicated now. Often for a reason, but I feel like this could be made so much simpler. It's just drawing like a tile grid that's highlighted and has an outline. It's actually really hard. It's really difficult. Oh my god, it's so hard. Because there's like a there are a bunch of minor edge cases that are so dumb. Because otherwise it's easy. I kind of want to learn C++, but I also really don't want to learn C++. I mean, I should learn C++. That's the unfortunate reality. Like, C# works, but I should learn C++. It doesn't really matter for this project though. C# is more than fine for this. More than fine. There's nothing CPU bound that's heavy here. Can I draw in paint too? Non-pixel art things? No, not really. I tried learning high-res art, but I haven't really, like, it's too much. I haven't been able to get into it. I wanted to get into music too, but it's too much. Too much at the same time. I bought an electric guitar. I have like a Scarlett for input. I have a little. It's not like a. I don't know if it's a MIDI keyboard, but it's like an input. It's got a keyboard and it's got sliders and stuff that I bought, but it all kind of boils down to that. Do I have a use for it? Thing, to be honest. That's really, like, if I don't, I just can't do it. Because it's already so much effort, right? Like this, learning graphics programming, if I was to learn like C++ as well, and on top of that, like I already know how to do pixel art, which I'm not good enough at, really. I mean, I am good enough at it, but I'm not good enough for like what I want to do for some things. I do need to do some streams later on for both projects. Work on the sprites a bit, because the sprites here need to be changed to a different perspective, and for the other one I want to just establish an art style there for what I want to do. So, but programming first. Were you here just now when I said that I should learn C++, by the way? Yeah. Because it is a reality, right? Like, there's only so much that you can do with C#, and C# really, it carries you a long way. Like, before you actually run into issues with C#, you're doing really heavy things. But those heavy things exist as well, right? Like, that's the problem. Like, if you're gonna do something like Factorio, or you're gonna make an RTS or something, like, not working with C++, I feel is just wrong, really. So I feel like it's something to know. Here it's a bit of a mess nowadays. I hear people say that, but I don't understand how, like, what does that mean? I feel like that's more of like industry practice than the actual language itself. But I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Because it's like, so I talked to someone and he was like, mentioned like Haskell-like templates and shit, and I was like, but you can just use it like it always was, can't you? Like you can just do C++. You don't need to do any of those things, right? Like those are just like tools. But if you've got a team that are demanding to use those tools, then yeah, then it becomes a mess. I can see that for sure. There's like 20 ways to do everything. Yeah, I really don't. I really don't want to. I really don't. I hate C++ syntax. It feels so unnatural. Like C# feels so good to work with, except for its limitations, right? Like I think C# is pretty much the perfect programming language, other than like, yeah, like I said, like its limitations. Otherwise, everything makes so much sense, in my opinion. You can just pick, like, you don't even need to go to school to learn this. Like, you can just pick it up in an evening and start. It's easier than Java. It's so easy. It's like learning what a class and a struct is. And then you're good. Am I running into... No, I'm not. Not here. But there are limitations, right, with like the garbage collector coming into play, and if you really want to squeeze things, because I do want to squeeze things out of it. Not in this project, because this is a much more simple project with like a heavy story basis, and everything is pretty like set how it should be in each encounter, each level. So there won't be any problems at all. It'll be completely fine. But the other engine I'm working on, there it's meant to be like procedural generation, streaming like chunks and voxel data on the fly as you're walking on and moving along, and doing all kinds of things like that. And that's like my personal side project, but it's also this thing where as long as it's an engine, it's something that we as a company can use as well. So I always look at it from that point of view as well, that I'm kind of creating assets for us too. That could be used for another game too. Isn't C++ faster because their language does things like malloc because their language is lower level? I don't know why. I don't know why it's faster, but one of the issues, and I don't really know exactly like what kind of scenarios C+ or C# would run into issues, but it's the fact that you don't have control over the garbage collection, so you can just get random lag spikes. But I don't know exactly how that works. I feel like it's whenever you like destroy an instance, or I think, but I'm not sure, I think it's like when a variable runs out of scope, that gets handled. And I think that's the garbage collector that does that. So you can program to like work around that by just like keeping variables and reusing objects and like not like destroying instances, but rather repurposing them and all kinds of things like that. But I don't know exactly why C++ is faster. Otherwise, I don't know enough about programming. I'm a hack. I'm only doing this shit. I'm not. I don't know anything about anything when it comes to like lower level stuff and how things actually work. And that's also why I'm a bit scared of C++, because from what I understand, you need to have some degree of understanding of things like that, which I can learn. Like I'm kind of learning that for GPU programming as they go along, but it's still an issue there too, right? Because I just recently learned about like register usage in shader programming, which is a huge deal. But that's also stuff that's like impossible to understand because there's so little understandable information about it. It's all just technical manuals. So I tried Googling it, like what's the register limit and stuff like that. And I'm not even sure. The other project was using like 140 registers, and I'm like, okay, what does that mean? I don't know, man. How many do I have? I don't even know what this uses because I haven't measured it. But how should I handle this shit? Because what am I doing here? We're getting a color, TF grid. New lock size. Out new lock. Path add new lock dot position. Temp key new lock. New lock. It is checking edges. Generate range result. Here, I think this is the one I've fixed. This is all it does. It's checking key plus offset. And then just mashing edges. And that's it. Yeah, this is what I want to do. Edge. This is like really old remnant code where from when I was first generating paths and like highlights and stuff. And it's been really complicated to get working correctly because of a bunch of minor bugs. Like if you have an object over here and you try to move, and you can move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You can move 7 steps like this. This is how you can move. Kind of like that. Well, it's actually more like that. Let's go with that.
But the issue with that, and I've mentioned this many times, is because we have like micro tiles. Each object occupies multiple tiles. If you're walking around this object, and you can move a maximum of 7, if it moves this way around as well, then here the grid is gonna look like you can stand here as well, but you can't, because the total steps over to here is 7, and the total steps to here is 7. So if you want to stand here, the total amount of steps is actually 8. And because of that, you can't stand there. And because of that, I needed to draw a grid edge in between to note, like to show that you can't actually walk there. And this is a nightmare. Because how do you do it, right? Because in order to create the grid edge, the way I've been doing it is I kind of just iterate through all of the tiles in like a path, kind of, and then I set the tiles as I go along. They have like an edge based on the character size, so it gets set like this, and then I have a system to like overwrite the old edges if there's connections and stuff. This was how I did it before, and it was really, really complicated, but it worked. And I did this shit. But then I was like, why am I doing it like that? Like, am I stupid? And I just made each tile check its neighbors. This tile here, it just checks every single neighbor around it. And then it just sets an edge based on its neighbors. There's nothing here, it's nothing here, nothing here. And then it just like sets edges like this, right? And same thing here, it's gonna check these 3 or all of these. So it's gonna set edges like this. Even then, it's like not as simple as just checking that. But then it still runs into this issue, right? Here. It's still the same problem. So you have to like, the way I'm doing it right now is I keep track of how many steps it's taken to go anywhere. So if this is like 3 steps for whatever, we count all the way to over here. And then if we're trying to connect 2 tiles, but, and see, even then, if they have the same amount of steps, then we can't go. What about its neighbor? Its neighbor is also going to have the same amount of steps, because we're actually walking like in a square like this. So this is 3, and then the next square is 4, etc. So both of these are 8. So if we try to talk with this one and check, okay, well, how many steps have you taken? And it's going to be 8. And then it's like, okay, it doesn't work anyway. So I think right now the way I fix this is I think I'm checking the direction that I came from in order to fix this specific bug. And another scenario, another way you can do it is to like, because each corner of an object start from a different point, because it's a star pathfinding, which means it's gonna go out like this, and then like this, then like this, and that, and that, and that. And I start each of them in a corner, and because of that, I can give them an ID. So like this is 0, 1, 2, 3 or whatever. And then if the ID and if it's the same amount of steps and the ID doesn't match, then we know that we need to create an edge. And it's stuff like that that's making it so difficult, but I think everything else in this whole system is like mega overcomplicated right now. Because I'm like creating pathfinding tiles, which is something special. It's a pathfinder result and all of this shit. When in reality, it should just be a bunch of tiles, then I feed them in, check the neighbors. But even then, like I just said, even then they probably need to have an ID for where they started from the pathfinding, and then we're back in hell again. Because what I'm trying to do now, that's making all of this annoying, is that the results to create these, like the grids, they're all tied to the pathfinding itself. And now I'm trying to create a different system using force, where an object can be moved and manipulated using force instead of just a position. And this needs to have a preview step where we can tell what is going to happen before we execute it. And that's where I need to draw the results of the path by storing it in some manner and then drawing it. But then all of the drawing steps to draw the grid are tied to the pathfinding results struct type. And this is where the mess is. And I'm just like, do I need to rework the entire pathfinding system a bit to change the kind of tiles it's using so that the grid drawing function can take a little bit more generalized data set? Wouldn't a clearance-based pathing system be easier? I don't know what that means. What does that mean? Distance to obstacle metric. Each cell stores the closest distance to an obstacle on the grid within some maximum distance. I don't know if I want to do that. That's basically an SDF. Which is assigned distance field. Very common in ray marching and ray tracing. I don't think I need that. Because the pathfinding itself is fine. It's the rendering of it that's the issue. My mind keeps telling me observer. In regards to what? Yeah, the thing I don't really like about that, even though I think that could be okay too, is that it means I have to store like a byte, I think at least, extra in each tile. And that means a million extra bytes, potentially, per level. Which I don't know how much data that is. I don't know. How much is a million bytes? Is that a gigabyte? No, that's a kilo. It's 1 megabyte. I think that's not a big deal. That could be like that's not a big deal actually. Well, is it actually that little? How are my maps taking up so much space then? If each byte here is just 1 megabyte. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, no. 12, 13, 14. It's 14 megabytes. Plus a list of bytes. And I think a list is like 64 bytes or something. So I said that. Maybe it's that. But whatever. No, the issue is, like I said, the issue stems from not from pathfinding itself. The pathfinding is actually easy. It stems from fixing some minor rendering issues. Hello, Ivan. How's it going? Can you tell if a piece of code was generated by AI or hand-coded by a human? No. Maybe if you're super specialized in a field. Otherwise, you wouldn't know. Unless it's retarded. If it's retarded, then you can tell. But people also write retarded code, so... Are you trying to cheat? Are you trying to cheat on an exam? What's stopping programmers from abusing AI? I mean... mainly that it sucks ass. That's the main reason. And it doesn't work. That's it. That's about it. It actually can write a lot of code, especially depending on the service you're using. So if you want to use that to your advantage, then why not? But it's not gonna write all the code that you need for you, so it's not necessarily good enough. There's some boilerplate stuff that they're good at. Yeah, I mean, if it works, it works. Study came out recently that showed that AI makes programmers 20% slower, but they feel like it makes them 20% faster. Yeah. Yeah. Gabe Newell once said that we might be at an age where people who don't code but uses AI are more productive than programmers who don't use AI. I think that you won't see that. I think if we're worried about programmers abusing AI, we're worrying about the wrong problem. We've got this machine that can program everything we want, and we're worried about programmers not doing any real work. I mean, the reality is none of this is relevant right now anyway, because it doesn't exist. Like, AI isn't nowhere near anything that's going to replace anyone anytime soon. Yeah, I mean, the thing about AI when it comes to both programming and art is that whenever you want to make anything, it's usually a niche, and it's usually something specific. And while AI can make like really nice looking art now, I think most artists downplay it a lot because they don't like it. But usually when I'm on like YouTube now, I can't tell if it's a thumbnail made by AI or not. And I am an artist as well. Like, I don't think that it's noticeable most of the time. It's like when you can tell inconsistencies in like lines and shit. Like, oh, look at these little lines here at the construction site behind him. You can tell that they're all crooked. That, you know, that's like where it fails. But that's like, it's also, if you're gonna make a product and you're gonna make AI generate like one character for you over and over, like, it can't do that. It's ass at it. It can't even generate like people are making meme videos now with like Quinn69 and shit like that, and sometimes it looks exactly like him, sometimes it doesn't. It's not even close. So like, I don't know. I just don't think AI really matters right now. Though I think it will. Either way. Let's figure out some tile stuff here. Also, hello, Dastardly. Now all my NPC porters are AI gen? Yeah. Yes. For hobbyists, I think it's a huge blessing for stuff like that. Draw dynamic grid. Generate bitwise grid. So all this is doing is it's creating a grid out of it based on the bitwise we have already set. So in other words, this doesn't need to take a PF result at all. The PF result, all we're doing is taking the Pathfinder tile dict, and that contains a Pathfinder tile. Um, I think maybe the Pathfinder tile is fine. It's a tile position, it's a grid color, it's an edge. It also contains an origin. Which might be okay. Actually, I wonder if that bug exists diagonally too. It's just the edge here. Tile origin. Man, it is that one bug. It's that one bug. Holy shit. It makes it so much harder. Like, you have no idea. It ruins everything. Otherwise, it's so easy. It's the easiest thing in the world. But this fucker, this fuck, it just makes it so difficult. Because it means that instead of just tracking which tiles I have walked on and then just drawing that on the screen, I have to keep track of like its path. Like each tile needs to have the previous tile as like an origin in order to do this. And I guess that's okay. I can do that. But holy shit, it sucks. I think it's okay. I think it's probably enough that it stores the previous tile traversed. Because that's what's most, like, if I do that, if it just contains last position, then I can get a direction. And then if this is about to happen, where this is coming this way and this is coming that way and they're meeting, then when these two need to check its edges, then when it finds something here, it's gonna say, okay, does that have the same origin as me? And if it doesn't, then we draw an edge. Otherwise, if it does, such as this one and this one, would. But it's not as easy as that either, mind you. Because each tile, if I move with a character, that character actually moves along one tile. Kind of. He actually occupies 2 times 2 tiles. But as he moves along here, he's actually just, he has one position. Always, right? And that tile position is then where he's moving and being positioned. And the issue with that is that if I store more than that, if I don't just store the top tile's path, kinda, then I have to store all of the tiles that he traverses over the whole time. And then I'm gonna get duplicates, or I have to do I have to make a check every time to see does the list contain this and that. That sucks in and of itself, but it's not like that big of a deal. But it then becomes a mess when it comes to like the previous tile and stuff like that. But that could probably, like, all of it could just be, previous tile could all be based on the tile position itself. But then that's not correct either, necessarily. This is why I made special tiles for this, or special structs, where the position is like I called it a location, where the location is just the tile plus size plus offset, in case it's like we're checking from here instead of from here, because that can happen in some cases. And then we generate a path out of that. And that's why I'm not sure what to do right now. The Pathfinder tile also doesn't contain a size. Only the location contains the size. The Pathfinder tile is when I convert from a location into a Pathfinder tile, so it contains a color and an edge and an origin. Maybe I should just use locations. Locations are also kind of bloated. They contain a position, a size, a parent, an origin point, step count, an edge array, a boolean, whether it's a final tile or not, it contains its color. Oh, why are these things so hard? I just want to draw the thing. But I think if I just make a list of locations, it could be okay. Because at the end of the day, that's really what we're using, I think. We got generate bitwise grid here. We have generate range result. And here we just do this. And validated tiles is Pathfinder tiles. Fuck. Is the Pathfinder result contains a list path. Am I not even using locations anymore? I mean, I think I am. Validated tiles. There. That contains a location. And the location contains the size, line size there. And then this is check line collision, which is used here, and then we have a validated tiles list here, or dictionary here. And then when that comes out, it's just immediately converted to Pathfinder tiles instead, because they suck less. And the Pathfinder tile is just a single tile, really. It's just a slightly more advanced tile with an origin and an edge and a color. A little bit stuck on indecision here, but if I just do this, but it's not necessarily that simple either. But it's a start. Basically, each object would need to track its path and then report. And then we patch them together and form a new grid. And in that case, that should be stored in here, and it would need to be a dictionary of vector 3 int and a location. Force. Traversal. What do I call it? History? Oh. Maybe this can work without reworking everything.
Oh. Alright, so what this is gonna do is that each step that we iterate, we're going to add a location to this dictionary. But first, this is the force ray init. And so here, it says ray step history clear. It's also gonna say what the fuck is ray step history? That's like what I'm going to implement now. Anyway. I hate this, it's just so complicated. Force traversal history dot clear. And then I want to store force traversal history, but add ray map position, new location, and the new location takes position, which is then ray map position, a size, which is data module dot value dot file size. Parent. This one doesn't have a parent. That's null. Origin point is ray map position. It's this point. Steps 0. Edge. Man, what is this shit? Am I actually using this at all? Like, I think I am, but like, what is this? Why is this? Why does a location have an edge?
Making tea.
I look. I think this is the only place that's using a new location edge. And I think it sucks. I think it shouldn't do that. But I haven't refactored it because it hasn't been necessary. So this part here, this is generate path results. This here is generate range results. And the difference is that range is expanding everywhere, while the path is meant to just be a path. But the path can just use the same solution as this. In fact, I would almost wager that if I were to replace the path with just this, it might work. Here, this is a location. Well, there it's... Well, maybe if we do the LOTF convert... No. What does it return? It returns Vector 3 Pathfinder tile. Dictionary Vector 3 int Pathfinder tile. PF tile. Equals convert location to PF tile. And then this takes validated tiles, a range. If value is greater than range. Ah, yeah, we do have a range here, don't we? Movement distance? Expand tile. Root? Yeah, that's movement distance. See, let's see if that works. It's like completely unrelated, but whatever. Well, so much for that. But yeah, it's not a path. We have target location. And what we need to create here now is target location. And this takes a dictionary of locations. So we need a dictionary here. That's gonna say dictionary. Vector3 int location. Path. And then this needs to say this needs a while loop. While, and what does the origin tile say? This is the origin location, I think. Frontier. And then this says parent equals itself. So I need to say something while here we're gonna say lock origin to check. Oh, it's just a vector 3. Fair enough. Fair enough. How... Wait. How am I creating a path here? Like, I'm sending in PF data, target location, PF result, like all of this shit. Validated tiles is a dictionary of locations. Oh, that's how. So this should be a location, and then we check validated tiles dot try get value, and we use the key. Out lock parent to check. Something like that. I don't think we're gonna push it that much longer today. I have to get up and do some stuff tomorrow. And then we'll try to push it tomorrow instead. But basically, I mean, why am I not just looking in here more? For each tile, invalidated tiles. No, that's the wrong one. That's path result. No, wait, what? Hold on. Oh, there. Here. First, we generate a new lock. And then we do validated tiles, try get value, new lock.parent. New lock. And then that gets added to the path. So here, the path should have I think the target location should be added. New lock equals target location. Yes. Right, and then this is a while. While position does not. What is that? Grid origin size. No. Pathfind. Pathfinding data. Target bounds. Minvec 3. Wait, what? Is what? Lemon curds and milk. I thought it would take longer, but it didn't. No, that's disgusting. That's basically cheese, by the way. Lemon plus milk means cheese. Oh no. Spilled on myself. What is it for? The cheese? Or what? Oh. I just put some lemon in my milk for my tea, but it was if you don't put the tea in first, then the lemon is too strong and it fucks up the milk. Apparently. Apparently. It is a normal drink. That's what people put in tea all the time. A little bit of lemon. But not to turn it into cheese. I mean, I am drinking green tea. It's Kuan Yin or something. It's like fermented green tea, and you can reboil it up to 6 times. And I added some spearmint into that. And then I put milk in it, and I added the lemon. But I put the milk in, my mug and then the lemon immediately, and then I poured the tea. And that ruined it. It's over. As long as I have just put it in the tea itself, and then put the milk in, or, you know, put the, you know, as long as the concentrated lemon wasn't in the milk, it would have been fine. Would have been fine. But how do I fix this? The target location is this. So do I need to set this to check for pfdata.targetBounds.value.minvec? Because I think the target location gets updated. Here, yeah. So what we need to do is the while loop needs to check for, well, that actually. A new lock here should be current lock to check. And timeout, well, we don't have a timeout, but I guess we can make one. Nah, you know, well, fuck it. YOLO. Raw while loop without a timeout. So then what we need to do here now is this. And then we need to add that to the path by saying path.add lock parent to check dot value dot position no. Yes. Lock parent to check. And then this should actually be I don't think I need the parent to check thing. We add that, and then we need to iterate, and then it should be current lock to check position, current lock to check, and then it iterates again, and then we've created a path, and then we have a location dictionary, and then we can pass that in here instead. And then we do that. Let's test. I don't know if this can actually work. Oh, it sure didn't. An item with the same key has already been added. Oh, this also needs to be that. Harsh words. Alright, let's try now. Ah! An item with the same... What? The key is 0. Wait, why am I down here? Why is this grade? Are you... what? Is it just an IDE bug? Current location to check equals target location. If movement path new tile.position equals tfdata.target bounds, then target location equals new tile. And then we take target location down in here and we say the first position in the path is the target location. And then the current location to check becomes target location. Yeah, that's wrong. That should be... Well, no. We're getting doing try get value. Path add new location. I feel like this should work, but it's just not. Oh. Okay, sure. And then we run generate range result instead. But for whatever reason, that's now yellow. It's so hard to find again. It's here. So what we should do here is we are just adding the path here, right? What we should say is current lock to check dot grid color. If current lock to check, I mean, this is what we need. This just needs to be greater than. Then we set this to yellow. And new lock. That's current lock to check. Let's try that. I don't know if there are any additional bugs created by this, but the path should be simple. It's actually the range that I already fixed that is the problem. But I kind of want to generate a path here, I think. Oh, come on, man! What? Fuck off! You just worked. Oh, I know why. I forgot to comment that. That's why. Because the path generation was actually using the old method, and the old method was super convoluted. Come on. I don't know if I have an actual... Yeah, I think that might be the issue here. I don't think that there's like an actual range limit here for how far I can move. That was just tied to the grid. I don't know if I have a value to turn it yellow. I don't think I do. But it should be there, right? Because I'm passing in PF data. So, or am I just doing this in some stupid manner? Current lock to check. That's what we're adding there. And then we're setting it to yellow. And in path result, here we're... Oh, I'm setting a Pathfinder tile. Right. So we do that. And then we do convert location to PF tile. And here it's actually setting it to grid color blue. Is there a reason for that? Because we have a location. And I'm actually setting the location to grid color none. Which I think is not necessarily correct. Or like there's any real reason to do that. I just wanted to write less things, I guess. Because it's being validated. And that means it's blue. Kind of? I think we should do... Because what do we have current steps plus 1. If current steps plus 1 is greater than path data, no, PF data dot range dot value, then less than or equal to, then blue, else grid color dot yellow. That also... No, I do have to change this here then. Convert location to PF tile. This should say ilock dot value dot grid color. Oh, come on. It's like... This is Pathfind specifically, and here it's like, if the target location, because here we are setting target location, then if here we're setting 0, right? If 0 is less, if 0 is less than or equal to ef data dot source object dot combat module dot action points remaining, then grid color dot blue, else grid color dot yellow. So if we base it on that, then it should get a color. Current steps. Current dot steps plus 1. How? What? Why is it blue? Because here we're setting the grid color there. So how could that be not yellow? Because here, new tile. If current dot steps plus 1 is less than action points remaining, then blue, otherwise yellow. Huh? Generate range results. Is it in here? It might be in here. I guess. Here, grid color blue. Yeah, this should be... EF tile to right. What am I doing here? I'm setting a PF tile and then I'm just adding a custom one anyway. Blue edge. Am I retarded? I don't know what I'm doing here. And then this should be tile dot value dot grid color. There we go. Now it works. Now it works again. Except we're using the new, easier system. It's bugged though, but it works, but it's bugged. Fuck. God damn. If you look at Adam, you can see that the path doesn't originate fully around him. So there are 2 tiles that are missing. And I don't exactly know why or how to fix it. But I guess we'll do that tomorrow. And this is like completely sidetracked from what I was gonna do. Unfortunately. But if we figure this out, then we can use the same system here, I think, to piggyback on the old system with the new system in order to render tiles on the grid. Because this is basically what I want to draw. I want to draw a path like this. But this is gonna be generated by the force system, where when we target a unit, we then add a direction and a force based on the distance. And then you move the unit that way. And that's what needs to use the old system in order to render itself now, because otherwise, if I decouple it entirely from the rate marching system, or the original line casting system specifically, then yeah, it won't work, or it'll work, or whatever I was talking about. I don't even know. But yeah, we'll stop there for today, and I'm gonna hammer this weekend and see if I can manage to get this working for Monday, because I really want to get past this. The goal is to implement the AoE spell that can push enemies in a circle, and have that render which targets are gonna get pushed where, and then also have it work. Bonus goal is doing the opposite as well, having a spell that takes an area and then sucks enemies towards the center. That's bonus goal. But I think once the first one works, the second one works automatically. More or less. Unless we find 7,000 bugs. But yeah. Anyway. Until next time. Thanks for hanging. Have a good night. Bye-bye.